So good morning. Oh my gosh. So speaking of horse with no name, we are discussing a horse of a different color. Yes. And so I'm continuing just a few more weeks of the book by Jean Houston, The Wizard of Us. And so we're concluding the next 3 weeks. We're winding it up. And of course, what would the Wizard of Oz or us be without change? Oh, yeah, I know that word. Oh, that word. And so, I smell change. There seems to be a shift in the atmosphere these days. And I'm not talking just all the rain and the monsoons we've been having, but I'm talking about the different things that happen in our life, the things that do shift, the people, the places, the things that all of a sudden, one day they're one way and the next day they're different. And we tend to say, well, how do I adjust? How do I do this? Well, let's look at Dorothy for just a minute in The Wizard of Oz. And so what she's doing is the entire journey that she's on, she's actually dealing with change. She's dealing with the different things that come about. In fact, the Wicked Witch of the West is constantly, just getting in her way for all those wonderful things to create her being able to move forward to the Emerald City. And sometimes we wonder, is she really going to make it? Is she really going to, in her mind, get there? But she's got the shoes. Okay? She's got the ruby shoes. She's got the allies. She's got her, scarecrow. And she's got her lion. And she's got the Tin Man, yes. And she's got herself. And, of course, Toto, her little guide dog. So what happens is she continues to go down this little yellow brick road. And what happens is the Wicked Witch is just basically getting in her way the whole entire time. And so as she moves forward, is she trying to avoid what's going on with the Wicked Witch? And let's just name the Wicked Witch as negative energy. So she's trying to move forward, and the Wicked Witch is kind of chasing her. So it's almost like she's being chased by this negative energy, and she keeps saying, no, things are going to be great, things are going to be wonderful. So when we tend to avoid the negative, we tend to run away with something with our hair on fire. We don't think about it, we just run blindly into whatever it is. Because we don't want to deal with change. We don't want to say, well, you know what? My routine is great. I'm okay with everything that's going on here. Just go away. Well, I just want to let you all in on something today. I'm a change agent. And what that means is that my job is to afflict the comfortable and comfort the afflicted. So just so you all know. Just want to get that straight right up front. So what happens is, what I am teaching all of you is how to get through change without having to go through all the turbulence. Now, yes, there will be turbulence, and that's growth. That's for us to be awakened to, oh, well, I didn't realize that this was going on in my life. I better pay attention. I better see. Now, I've talked about this over and over, but it's something that I truly believe in. And how you know change is coming is, as I call it, you all, and most of you know this, is the 3 times rule. Once, it'll say, hello, I'm here. The second time it'll say, okay, obviously I didn't get your attention, so let's just shift this a little more. And then the third time, the rug gets pulled out from under you, and then what you're doing, you're saying, okay, now what do I do? I'm totally unequipped for this. Oh, no, you're not. You are very much equipped with this. In metaphysics, in the science of mind, in unity, wherever you come from, you are equipped. You have the spiritual tools, because what happens is it's in your mind. You can either choose in the morning to get up and say, I'm going to have a great day, or you can choose in the morning to say, well, let's see, how rotten can I make it? It's true. So what happens is we sit there and we say, okay, what can I do to make this better? Or better yet, the divine mind is invited and say, okay, I require, don't say need because that means lack. I require an answer to whatever is going on in my world. And when we allow ourselves to be quiet, and when we allow ourselves to be open to that, instead of trying to do it all, trying to be that A personality where things have to be done all the time, we allow ourselves to be beta, where we sit back, we relax, and we go, you know what, God's got this. I just have to be open. You know, the problem, well, I shouldn't really say it's a problem. What the issue is with the human condition is that we feel that we always have to do it. We have to try to change it the way we want it. And what happens is Spirit goes, you can try, but we're just going to do this all over again. And so my advice is to just sit back, relax, and just keep going through it. You know, the other day I was thinking about, you know, all the changes that, you know, are appearing and this and that and in the world. And for whatever reason, I looked over at one of my dogs and he was eating his little kibble that they have in the ground. And I thought, you know, every day it's the same thing. Goes over to the kibble, eats, goes away. Now, one of my dogs, Ambrose, he has this issue with dog food. I have been buying the same dog food over and over because if I put down a different flavor, he looks at me like, really? And then Ralphie, who's very easygoing, just goes, okay, whatever. But Ambrose will not eat it. And I think, dog, it's the same thing day after day. You don't want salmon, you don't want chicken, you don't want duck, you know? Hello. And he will just literally, he'll look at me like, really, Mom? We've been through this. You know what I expect. And so what I've done is I keep ordering the same food over and over. And it's funny because I think, what would it be like for all of us to eat Brussels sprouts every single day? I know. What would that be like? Is to have that thing that we're like, really? I have to have this again? The same way, the same thing? So I just haven't figured that out with dogs. So they're very much into ritual, very much into keeping everything the same. However, in Humanville, not so much. We create change. And some of you will go, what do you mean I create change? Oh, yes. Each one of you and I are like a pebble in the water. What happens is when we put ourselves into a situation, we're putting waves out into the world. So what's naturally going to happen is those waves of change are going to eventually come back. And we're going to experience whatever we have put out there. So what happens when we wake up one day and we say, I'm done with something? We say we're done with whatever's going on in our life, and how do we create change? Yesterday morning, I did that. I woke up, sat on the edge of the bed, and went, I am so done with this hair. And so I made an appointment, and it was funny. I was telling some of you outside is that I got there, new gentleman doing my hair, and I said, just cut it all off. I'm done. Done with long hair. And he goes, now wait a minute. Change that severe can be devastating. And he says, and you're in a mood. He says, you women all get in these moods with your hair. Right? So he said, I will cut it, but I am not going to cut it And I said, okay. So he said, I'll probably, well, most of you know how long my hair was. So he says, I'll take up about 4 or 5 inches. And then next time you come in, we'll talk about it. I said, okay. So he did. And it was really funny because I thought, yeah, I was in a mood. I just wanted change. I wanted something to be different. I wanted, to create something. And I did. And what I created was to make myself feel better, to release whatever it was. Like Samson, he cut his hair off. Well, they cut his hair off and he was powerless. But hey, when you cut off hair, I'm powerful. Sometimes that's what you have to do. So I found this interesting. We're talking about the Wicked Witch of the West. She's this constant, poking the bear thing with Dorothy. And so I thought, what is it about the West that we should know about? And so what I found out is that in many cultures, the West is a direction that represents divine transformation. Oh my gosh. I think that's the theme of The Wizard of Oz. In Judaism, it guides you into closeness with God. In Buddhism, it is the direction of enlightenment. Native Americans and other indigenous peoples, Aztecs, ancient Egyptians, saw the West as the doorway in vibrational medicine to the next world. And I'm thinking, okay, how did L. Frank Baum connect this with the witch? And I realized she was the one that was constantly, as I said, poking Dorothy. And as she was poking Dorothy, what was happening is Dorothy was forced to grow. She was forced to look at things differently. She was not a little girl anymore. She was walking around in this new land and going, what's mine to do kind of thing? And how do I get home? That was her main drive. Ernest Holmes said, our lives and experiences may very well be likened to a river. If we stand on the bank of a river and watch it flow by, we become aware of the fact that the river never changes, but that is constant and it always is new. By analogy, we might say that the purposeful, dynamic quality of life within us never changes, but the content of our experience of living never remains the same. Yeah, I thought, that's right. You go to a river, you sit by it, you watch the water flow. It just continues to go. Why can't we do that? Just allow everything to flow and go and relax instead of being caught up in the current and the crazy. Why, as humans, do we allow our minds to go there instead of being quiet? I know some of you have heard river when it babbles over the rocks. It's just like, allow yourself to breathe. Allow yourself to just sit and know. So here's some trivia. You didn't think you were going to get through the morning without some trivia. The horse of a different color, I loved this, was achieved by covering it in Jell-O. Yes, the powder in Jell-O. And I thought, well, okay, they had Jell-O in the 30s. I guess. The powder was the safest way to achieve the different hues. But I love this one. But the horses liked the taste and would try to lick it off between takes. So this meant that the scenes had to be shot quickly because otherwise they were licking it off each other because they had 4 horses. So the horses that they used were purple, so obviously that was grape, right? Then red. Yeah, strawberry, cherry, one of those. Yellow, lemon, or pineapple. Well, they probably didn't have pineapple back then. Green, lime. Yes. Blue. Blueberry. There you go. And orange. Okay. And violet. I thought, okay, well, whatever violet. I guess violet was left over. But I thought, all the things. Like last week it was asbestos. This week's it's Jell-O. I mean, they were very creative back then. So things are forever changing, and I have found that in these journeys of transition, when endings are done well, beginnings are more peaceful. And what that means is that when we decide to stop arguing with change, and we decide that we just go, okay, we surrender. Like surrender, Dorothy. We just surrender to it. We allow it to be. We allow it to flow through us as us. We no longer are resistant. And when we're resistant to what's going on in our lives, because as I said, most of us are in ritual and we say, no, it can't go this way because it's always been this way. How dare it change? I do this every morning or evening or whatever I do, and it has to be that way. Really? How's it working for you? As I say. Now you all know I love acronyms. Change. Chance to have a new experience with God. Yes. So what that means is that when we shift and change, we are allowed, or actually we're opening up to a new experience of spirit in our lives, how it works through us, as us, what it gives us, what it sometimes takes away. What is that experience that we are having with spirit? And I'm going to get more deep into that a little bit later. So one of my favorite authors, John O'Donohue, said, change is faithful. Don't we know it? It opens us to new depths within. Its continual inner movement makes us aware of the eternity that hides behind the outer facade of our lives. Deep within every life, there is something eternal happening. Yes. It's kind of like treading water. We are continually treading water. There's continual energy that is moving and shaking us, sometimes to the core. We are in a constant state of transformation. When we change a thought, we create a new perspective. Have you ever read a book, or maybe you've even read a billboard? Or what I love to do is read license plate frames or license plates, as I'm driving down the road. And all of a sudden you look at something like that and you say, never thought of it that way. Or maybe you've read something and all of a sudden it clicks on something maybe you didn't previously understand. When choosing a different path, you can forge new triumphs. Much like Dorothy on the yellow brick road. She just thought, okay, there's this yellow bricks and I'm going to follow it to the green Emerald City and that's all that's going to happen. Oh no. She had quite the adventure. As we do every day when we we walk out our door. We walk out and we have new adventures. We have new perceptions. We have new experiences that sometimes change us forever. Changing a deeply held belief can transform the trajectory of one's life. Oh, yes. Because all of a sudden our belief system on some level may crumble. And we think, well, wait a minute, let me take every brick and try to put it back together. This is how it's supposed to be. I can't, no. This is what I've learned. Well, this is what I would call spiritual school, where each of us are on different paths. But what happens is God comes to us and says, you know what? Let me nudge you over here a little bit. I would like you to experience that. And then sometimes we do find ourselves in the question mark of, what am I doing here? Why am I here? Many times in my life, I've had that question mark in front of me gone, what did I do this for? And then later, much later in my life, I realized that every single thing that I was experiencing that I thought was whatever created my ministry. It gave me the information and all the wonderful things that I need and created within me to be what I've come here to be. Think about changing a single note say, in a score of music. Michael would know this one. It can lift a mood. It can either bring it down or it can bring it up. Think about yourselves. We are all composers of our own songs. So when you hold on to a note of negativity, you're writing a song that's, kind of like a country song. When you play, a record backwards, you get your dog back, your truck back, your wife back, all those things. So that's what happens. When we write our life in negativity, it's not propelling us forward. Let's write our life in positivity. Growth is good. Growth is very good. It is challenging, but is probably the best experience we can have. Dorothy goes through, if you've seen the movie, she goes through an evolution. She goes from a girl with pigtails to where her hair is long and flowing. And that's how we see the transformation in Dorothy, is all of a sudden she's gone from this little innocent gal that's looking, in the distance and wondering what life is all about, to all of a sudden she's got her hair down and going, I got this. I got this, and we're moving, and we're going. In fact, I love the line that she says, Toto, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. But when we think about it, that applies to all of us. We're not in Kansas anymore. Every time we create a change, we're not in Kansas. We're moving forward. We're moving over the rainbow. We're moving into more technicolor life. We're not staying the same. We're not allowing ourselves to stay the same. We're saying, no, I want to do this. There's something else. There's something for my higher good that I want to experience. So let's not resist change. Let's make things a little easier. So what I want to introduce to you, and I know that we will be teaching, hopefully maybe in the fall sometime, we're going to be teaching a class on treatment and meditation. And so we're going to teach that class, but then I'm going to take it a little step further. And I have a series of meditation techniques that I will be teaching following that class. And the reason why I want to do this with all of you, and I'm hoping I can do it hybrid also for all of you that are online, is meditation is so important to the communication with our higher self, with that God, with that divine energy that we know within ourselves. It's so important to connect with that, because what happens is when we know when we're in meditation, when we're in that quiet place, and we allow everything to just dissipate from our mind, then we allow that still small voice in. And so when we say, I don't know what to do, things are changing too rapidly, how do I do this? We just, we do that. So what happens is we can say, okay, I give you 5 minutes. And that's all you really need. I mean, most think that when you're in meditation, you're doing this for hours and hours. Well, you can. It's a choice. But there are techniques where you can be in that meditative state for 5 minutes and still get your answers. And that's what I want to teach all of you, hopefully later this year. But it's so important to have a spiritual practice of meditation where you do become quiet. You allow that still small voice to talk to you. And right now, if you're not a meditator and you're like, oh, really? Oh, give me 5 minutes. Just give me 5 minutes. That's all I care. I really, really, truly, 5 minutes. Sit in a comfortable spot. You can even go to Starbucks or wherever. What is it? Oh, no, Dutch Brothers doesn't have anything like that. But just go into a quiet space and just Breathe. And then ask your divine self, your spiritual self, what is mine to know about this situation? Now, maybe at first you go, oh, okay, I didn't get an answer, bye. I give up. No, don't give up. Continue asking that question. Continually ask that question of what is mine to do, or where am I supposed to go, or what is mine, whatever it is. Allow Spirit in. Allow God in. Whatever you want to call it, allow it in. When you do that, I promise each and every one of you, you will get an answer. You will truly get an answer of what is to be, or what is changing and shifting. And I just want to let you all know that when things shift and change, you're going to be okay. You're really going to be okay. I promise. I really promise. Turbulence is good. Because what happens, as I said earlier, it shakes things up. It allows us to see what's really going on. But in the same way, it says, okay, is this mine to do? Do I really require this in my life anymore? Okay. Let me think about it. So Steve Maraboli said, let today be the day you are no longer intimidated by the monumental size of the change you want, but instead be empowered by your ability to make that change. Okay, and here's the key word. One step at a time. There's a saying about how when you look at an elephant, how much, when you look at a problem and it looks like this huge elephant, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, yes. So we're going to take one step at a time. Don't look at it as this huge ordeal. Just look at it peacefully and say, it is my friend. Change is my friend. So no, we're no longer in Kansas anymore. You're no longer stuck wherever you are right now. You are free. You're unlimited. And whatever you want to do, you can create that change. You all are change agents. Be the change. Be that change. And so let us go within for just a few moments. Breathing in, allowing that divine energy, the beautiful love energy that I know for each and every one of us, that is love. Change we embrace. Change we know creates growth. Change is for our highest good. It is in this divine essence that we know and can trust that as we transform and as we change, things get a little better all the time. And it is for this amazing transformation that we all get to experience on different levels in our lives that I just say thank you, God. Thank you, Divine Source, for everything, for all that is. Knowing that love is right where we are, to again, which I am so grateful. I let it go and let it be, and so it is. Amen.